We are now ready for the new post form changes. Up until now the changes were simple, but in this class we have a bit of work to do. Let's start with the top level changes. Currently we support one attachment. This field represents the attachment ID. This is the attachment MIME type, if applicable. This is the button for sending a post. We need to disable this button until the attachment is uploaded. The constructor is now private as the class is instantiated via factory methods. Also notice we don't invoke Init Ui in the constructor anymore. The first big change is the Init Ui method, which up until now created the same UI and was bound in the constructor. This will no longer work as the UI with an attachment will be slightly different. This code is still there, it just moved to the factory method. Here. The post styles code happened at the end of the Init Ui originally, but due to logistics we need it here. This allows the image and video versions to avoid the styles bar at the bottom of the UI. Notice that those don't exist in the native Facebook app either. Which brings us back to the Init Ui method. This is the button for posting from the toolbar. We can later disable this button. We can find the button for toolbar commands to get low-level control. This code will behave exactly the same as it did before if post styles had a value, and we'll just add the post to the center if it doesn't. Those are somewhat nuanced changes that expose components we can work with. Let's see how this allows image uploads in the main method. This is a factory method for an image post. The style bar in the bottom isn't included. We set the MIME type here, but notice we don't know the media ID yet, so the attachment value isn't set. The image will take up half the screen height. This is better than using an API like setPreferredSize because it will still work if the device is rotated. Here we upload the media to the server and return a slider component to track the upload progress. We place the image on the bottom of the form and the slider progress on top of it further down. Before we go to the logical next step in the upload method, I'd like to point out a big missing piece: delete. If we close this post now, the image would still be in the servers and no one would know. That's a flaw I left in place due to time constraints. There are several potential fixes. Probably the best one would be a backend server process that deletes media that has no references. We can also add a delete web service, but that wouldn't work perfectly for cases of app crashes, etc. I'll come back to the video post soon. For now, I'll skip ahead to the upload method. If we're uploading a media file, the post button should be disabled until we are done. Once upload finished, we enable the post button. Notice we save the attachment value too, which we will need later. You can bind a connection request to a slider using this utility class built into Codename1. Every stream in Codename1 is observable, which means we can get update events on any I/O operation seamlessly. Utilities like Slider Bridge take this to the next logical step by binding the progress event from Network Manager to a slider. With this, let's go directly to the changes in post to support attachments. This code had to move outside of the if statement even though it hadn't changed. If we have an attachment, we add it to the post object. After this line, the rest of the code is identical. With that, image posting should work, although we still need to update the callers to use the factory methods instead of the constructor. We have one final change to new post form, the create video post method. Most of this looks like the create image post method with minor changes such as MP4 instead of JPEG, etc. We can't override the performed size of the video component, but we can replace it in the container where we do override the size. We need that container anyway, so we can place a program progress indicator on top of that to show the upload progress. This shows a frame of the video 1 second into playback. Notice I invoke play and only then try seeking. Without doing that, the behavior is undefined for some features such as, well, seek. With that, the new post form is done. We just need to wire it in.